Hi, my name is Mel, and the following presentation will just explore fossils as evidence and records of ancient life, offering insights into Earth's history and supporting the theory of biological evolution. We'll examine their formation, type, significance, and the modern technologies that enhance fossil research. And look, this is a beginner guide, and I'm not a biologist, I'm a cybersecurity person. But I do like science and research a lot of this stuff myself. So this is not just something I've gotten, pulled out of my, wherever. But this is something that is my understanding of it, okay? Just so you know. So look, today we will cover an introduction to fossils, their formation processes, types, characteristics, how fossils are discovered and dated, their role in understanding evolution and past environments, challenges in the fossil record, modern research technologies and their impact on education and public imagination. Understanding fossils begins with defining what they are, distinguishing between body and trace fossils, and recognising their importance in paleontology for reconstructing past life. Fossils are preserved remains or traces of ancient organisms. They provide direct evidence of past life forms and environments, helping scientists uncover Earth's biological history. And they definitely do that. There are a lot of fossils, okay? So this is just a very basic thing again. Body fossils include actual parts of organisms such as bones and shells, while trace fossils record activity like footprints, burrows, or feces, revealing behaviour and environmental interactions. Fossils are fundamental to paleontology, enabling the study of extinct species, evolutionary transitions, and ancient ecosystems, thereby informing the tree of life and biological evolution. And they're only one of the lines of evidence, but they are a line of evidence. Okay, this is only one of many lines of evidence, and we'll talk about others in other videos. Fossil formation requires specific conditions and follows several stages. Understanding these processes explains why fossils are relatively rare and how different fossilization methods preserve biological material. Fossilization typically requires rapid burial, low oxygen to prevent decay, and sediments that allow mineral replacement or preservation of organic material. After burial, organic material may undergo mineralization where minerals replace tissues, preserving the structure. Preservation quality varies depending on environmental factors. And look, I do a slideshow just because I'm not so good at off-the-cuff sort of stuff, so I plan all this out in a slideshow and have notes to read off. It just basically helps me read, but because I've got autism, I don't always speak very well and sometimes stutter and don't pronounce things correctly, so you'll just have to bear with me. I apologise for that. Fossilization processes include permineralization, where minerals fill pores, casts and molds that form impressions, and amber preservation, which traps organisms in resin, amongst others. Exploring the main fossil types helps us understand what information each preserves, from physical structures to behavioural traces and microscopic remains. Body fossils consist of hard parts like bones and teeth and shells that survive fossilization and provide anatomical details about extinct species. Trace fossils are indirect evidence of life, including footprints that reveal locomotion, burrows showing habitat use, and coprofilites, which is fossilized feces, indicating diets. I hadn't heard the word coprofilites again before. I've heard of fossilized feces, obviously, so it's a new one on me. Okay. Microfossils are tiny fossilized remains of microorganisms or smaller parts of larger organisms. They are crucial for studying ancient environments and dating rock layers. Discovering fossils involves identifying promising geological contexts and using specialized tools and methods to excavate and preserve fossils for study. Fossils are often found in sedimentary rock formations. Certain locations like fossil beds and quarries are rich in fossil remains due to past environmental conditions. Excavation requires careful use of tools like brushes, chisels, and small picks to extract fossils without damage, often following detailed mapping and documentation procedures. Once excavated, fossils are cleaned, stabilised, and sometimes reconstructed in labs to prepare them for research and display using various conservation techniques. And they probably photograph a lot of them as they're starting to excavate them too, just so that they've got evidence to show what they've been doing, and also just for any reconstruction purposes as well. Dating fossils is essential to placing them in Earth's timeline. Techniques include relative dating by rock layers and absolute dating using radiometric methods. Relative dating uses stratigraphy, the study of rock layers, and index fossil species to known have existed during specific periods to estimate fossil ages. Absolute dating methods such as radiometric dating measure radioactive decay to determine precise fossil ages, providing a calibrated geological timescale. Fossils help identify major geological errors and evolutionary milestones, constructing the timeline of Earth's biological and environmental history. The fossil record reveals evolutionary patterns through transition fossils and sequences, documenting life changes over millions of years. Transitional fossils exhibit traits bridging ancestral and modern species, illustrating evolutionary processes and lineage connections. Fossils show how species appear, evolve, and sometimes go extinct, reflecting environmental changes and natural selection pressures. They certainly do that, yeah. Famous fossils like Archaeopteryx link birds and dinosaurs, because birds are theropod dinosaurs. Tiktaalik is one representation of fish to theropod transition. It's not the only one, but it's one of them. And horse fossils show evolutionary adaptation over time, as do whales and human fossils, everything else, okay? Fossils provide clues about ancient ecosystems, climate, and environmental shifts that shaped life on Earth. By analysing fossil assemblages, scientists reconstruct habitats, food chains, and biodiversity of past environments. Certain fossils indicate past climate conditions, such as temperature and humidity, to help understand Earth's climatic history. Fossil records reveal periods of mass extinction linked to drastic environmental changes, informing on resilience and recovery of life. While invaluable, the fossil record is not always complete, which can pose some challenges in interpreting Earth's biological history. Okay, it doesn't pose a great deal, but there can be some issues. We've also got DNA, genetics, and everything else. All right, but like the fossil record is never going to be complete because like most life forms aren't fossilized when they die, and haven't even found all the fossils. So look, expecting the fossil record to show every single stage is just unrealistic, and it's not going to happen. So we need to understand that, you know, like while the fossil record is very, very good, it's never going to be complete to where a lot of people would want it, okay? There can be some bias, and I don't want to emphasise this part because creationists will always click into anything you say here. And look, fossil favours certain environments and organisms with hard parts, leading to some gaps and some. When we say bias, we don't mean human bias. Like fossilisation occurs only where fossilization is allowed. So not fossils where animals that died in areas that fossilization is not likely are not going to be fossilised. That's what we mean by bias. It's not a human bias. It's just a bias in terms of how fossilisation occurs and also where fossils can be found too. So this is not a bias of humans. This is just, we're talking about how the bias in terms of fossilisation process and environmental processes that allow that, all right? So I don't want to, creationists are going to rip that to shreds, I know, but I'm trying to be as precise as here as possible, but it's very hard when creationists will be deliberately deceptive about this sort of process. Many fossils are fragmented and can be distorted, complicating species identification and evolutionary analysis. It doesn't make it impossible, however, and look, people will publish peer-reviewed scientific papers back and forth over fossil remains, and people will make new discoveries and new scientific, so evolution is discussed and all the different processes of evolution and different species, all that are discussed back and forth. There isn't groupthink here, right? And sometimes they will disagree with what particular fossil, which species it belongs to. And so look, I'm just saying is that it can be, because we do have a lot of fossils, and then because evolution works in very ways that are not planned, obviously, it's not designed, but evolution works in ways that are very different. And sometimes you can have fossils, that can be different to, difficult to place them within what species they are. So that's what we're saying. But it's not just this, evolutionary analysis is very good. Paleontology and all the other stuff is extremely good. So I don't want to play this up either, because again, creationists will misrepresent everything you say. New fossil finds and technologies continuously refine and sometimes challenge previous evolutionary interpretations. And that's a good thing about science. It changes its mind with evidence, okay? New evidence and new ways of looking at things will always change science, and that is a good thing. Science evolves as evidence and thinking evolves, okay? It's just, this is a really good thing. This is what you want. You don't want anything, science is tentative, right? And this is what we can know tentatively, and it's always up for change, which is great because we follow the evidence. We don't follow what we like or what we want to think, okay? Advanced technologies enhance fossil analysis, enabling detailed imaging, genetic studies, and global data sharing. CT scans and 3D modelling allow non-destructive internal examinations of fossils, revealing structures invisible externally. And yet they do all of this and more, okay? Molecular fossils and recovering ancient DNA provide genetic insights into extinct species and evolutionary relationships. They certainly do. And sometimes we are quite surprised about what life is related to what. Honestly, we really are. Digital databases facilitate access to fossil data worldwide, promoting collaborative research and faster scientific process. Fossils captivate public interest and serve as educational tools, fostering scientific curiosity and awareness. Museums display fossils to educate and inspire visitors, showcasing Earth's history and evolutionary marvels. Fossils and prehistoric life feature in movies, books and media, influencing cultural perceptions of science and history. And look, this sort of stuff that's featured in movies, books and media is not always correct. I don't think that goes without saying. But look, this is where, like, with media report on scientific finds, they're often very not accurate, and they sort of broadcast, you know, they're trying to get people's attention, but they don't, like, the labels on media representation of finds to do with biological science or any science can be often not correct, you know, so we just need to be careful. Fossil-related educational programs and citizen science initiatives engage the public in paleontology, discovery and conservation. And look, if you're interested in doing that, look up how you can help volunteer at, like, a local or something near to you, archaeological or paleontological site or something, just to help, you know. There's always programs around, and I think it's a good idea. Fossils are essential windows into Earth's biological past and evidence supporting evolution. Though ongoing research and technology, ongoing research and technology, they continue to expand our understanding of life's history and inspire scientific and public interest. Okay, so thank you for your time. This is just a quick overview. As I said, I'm not a scientist, I'm in cybersecurity, but look, this is my understanding of science. Okay, so if it's not correct, please tell me, I'll correct it. Okay, because I can be wrong. I'm wrong a lot sometimes, so thank you for your time.